Welcome to another Business Spotlight, where we share insights, reflections, lessons, and pearls of wisdom from local business owners. My name is Kerry James. I'm a business coach and a facilitator. And on today's Business Spotlight, I'm delighted to welcome Mr. Dan Cookson, CEO of Growth Assist. Good morning and welcome to Business Spotlight, Dan.
Good morning, Kerry, and thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. Let's get stuck straight in. Growth Assist, bit of a clue in the title, but not too much. So how long have you been in business, please? And what do you specialize in?
Yeah, so Kerry, we've been in business now for about 2.5 years. Actually started off as a side hustle business, and I've just come into the business in the past 3 months full time. But basically what we do is we specialize in outsourcing marketing talent from the Philippines to help UK businesses grow faster for a lot less than hiring UK-based staff.
And so what might be an ideal client for you? Size, culture, sector?
Yeah, so in terms of an ideal client, one of the beauties of the business really is we can sort of help anyone that's looking to grow the business. What we don't really do is sort of the strategy from a marketing perspective. We're really sort of just looking to provide the resource and help manage that team and train that team. We vet all our staff. We security clear them. But ideally, it's either sort of, on one side, it's business owners where they're growing and they don't necessarily want to, or just don't have the resource to invest in a full-time marketing person themselves in the UK. So they're just looking for some support from a marketing perspective. Or on the other end, where maybe it's a bigger business and they've got like a marketing team or a marketing manager, and they just need some extra firepower in that team. Again, just on an ad hoc basis, maybe, or semi-permanent contract, just to help out with campaigns and product launches and so forth. So yeah, I'd say they're the sort of two core people we focus on.
Okay, and what about investment levels? You mentioned kind of better value than investing on the UK side. Clearly, there's lots of kind of implications of that decision. But what might be if I was to invest in, say, a full-time person to help me with technical marketing? What might be the sort of range of investment level we'd be looking at there, Dan?
Yeah, so it really sort of depends on the skill set they're looking for. Our most common position would be sort of like a marketing generalist. We class this as a growth assistant. And that would typically be a degree educated person with a couple of years experience, more of like a generalist from a marketing perspective. And those guys probably work out about 70% cheaper than hiring in the UK. And just to give you sort of an idea, roughly around sort of £1,000 per month to hire all these people. And you're probably
is that full time, Dan? Just to clarify.
Yeah, yes, that's full time. And if you're looking for the equivalent hire in the UK, you're probably looking around sort of 40-50k. So there's a massive saving there from doing that.
I can see that rational argument, Dan. What I can also see though is lots of real and or made up fears and objections to that. You know, how do they know my business as well as my staff or people based in the UK? You know, how well do they speak the language? How can they really be part of the team when they are so many miles away in the Philippines? How might you address those type of objections, would you say, Dan?
Yeah, so as with all sorts of, I suppose, services like this, there's always trade-offs. I mean, it is a lot different to having someone in the office full-time, sort of working within the business. So the obvious sort of trade-offs is that you'll have to have all the tasks they need to be done remotely. It obviously is not practical to fly people over for any sort of in-person or face-to-face activities. So that's one consideration. From a language perspective, the language skills are really good. I think here in the UK we've had our fingers burnt with sort of a lot of like Indian call centres and so forth, which would be sort of really low quality services. But the Philippines, very, very different. The language skill set, it almost sounds a bit American. a bit of American twang, but it's really good. I think one of the obvious things that will help businesses navigate around is sort of cultural differences. And I think sort of when you start working with the team out there, it's just little things like using slang terminology and so forth that you just need to be sort of conscious of. But in terms of getting people embedded into the team, it's really trying to treat them as a full-time member of staff. It's including them on sort of the weekly catch-ups. Post-COVID, everyone's doing sort of Zoom and team calls now. Remote work is very much the norm. So really, it's just sort of an extension of that team. Yeah, I'm not going to come on this call and say it's an exact replica of hiring someone in the UK. You have to accept some of those trade-offs, but the flip side to that is it's considerably cheaper than hiring in the UK.
Makes sense, Dan. Makes sense. So, growth assist. So how quickly are you growing? How quickly do you want to grow? And what would you say are the key challenges to your business today, Dan?
Yeah, so it's been a bit of a whirlwind past few months, really, especially since I've come into the business full time. In terms of growth, we're growing rapidly. Just this month, we're onboarding 4 new clients, and really sort of how big do we want to grow? We want to grow as fast as possible, within reasonable, what's manageable. Yeah, the sort of world's our oyster really from a growth perspective. So really just in terms of challenges to the business from a growth perspective, it's I think one of the so what we do is we're getting into these businesses. Obviously every business is different, every need is different, and there's so many different with marketing, there's so many different it's such a rapidly changing sort of role. All this new technology is coming out. There's AI, there's technology, there's automation. There's so many different sorts of spin-offs and routes we can go. It's trying to sort of steer the business and trying to stay focused on core activities and not spread ourselves too thinly on in terms of the skill sets. So it's staying on board, trying to stay on that path, and then eventually we'll move more and more into these sort of more advanced marketing skill sets as we move along.
Okay, so 4 new clients in a month sounds like quite a lot for a business of in your sector. What are the main marketing activities that you're involved in to grow the business?
Yeah, so ironically, we need to really sort of start practicing what we preach, really, and start doing our own marketing. But really, sort of a lot of it's just been through word of mouth, referrals. When we sort of originally started the business, sort of all my background is tech and software. We were just going to sort of focus just on the software industry, but what we're finding now is we're being introduced into all these different types of businesses, again through sort of referrals, and we've been sort of quite lucky from that perspective. So really sort of moving into 2024, we really need to start practicing what we preach and get our own marketing campaigns going. Just to sort of really sort of accelerate that growth. But it's just quite a nice pace at the moment, because obviously we're growing fast. We're not growing too fast that we're losing control of operations and so forth, because we're still just a young company. But as we get into sort of next year, it'll be ramping up our own marketing campaigns.
And so what sort of size and shape are you now then, Dan? And what aspirations do you have for what you might look like kind of 3 to 5 years down the line?
Yeah, so in terms of size of the business, we've got 3 people in the UK. So we've got myself, my business partner, and someone else helping out with business development. And over in the Philippines, we're about 10 people currently. And then sort of moving into next year, we're looking to sort of double the size of the team. And then sort of moving into sort of years 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's probably a bit too early to sort of make those predictions at the moment, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see where we are at the end of next year.
Okay, and just a kind of a bit of I guess a technical question in terms of the business structure. Do you have a holding company within the Philippines? How do you manage that?
Yeah, so we've got a company on the Philippines. We've got a UK entity. And all our focus today is on UK businesses, so we filter everything through that UK entity.
Got you. Okay, got you. Well, it's been great to hear some of your journey, Dan. The main, not the main question, but arguably the most important question in terms of Business Spotlight viewers is, if you were giving yourself advice, if you were starting again, now that you know what you know as a business owner, what would you say are the main things you've learned, and what top advice would you give to yourself?
Yeah, so I think it starts sooner. So I've always wanted to have my own business, and I think it's that sort of trade-off between sort of being young enough and hungry enough to have that drive to do it versus the experience to actually sort of come in and offer value to your clients. So I think in sort of hindsight, I should have started a lot sooner.
Why do you wish you'd started sooner, Dan? What are the benefits you're experiencing now that you didn't have in your previous career?
Yeah, so I think it's just sort of a mindset, really. It's always, again, I've always enjoyed sort of different aspects of companies, really. I've always enjoyed the marketing, the sales, found the operations interesting. Early days, I've had a very sort of technical background, so all that sort of software and sort of the more technical side. I've always sort of seen myself as quite a broad skill set. So I think sort of the ideal sort of role to exploit that broad range of skills is really to sort of run your own business. I don't think until you do it for yourself, everyone wants to run their own business, and everyone, yeah, it's the dream of a lot of people. Until you actually do it, I don't think you quite realise what it's like. So
absolutely, couldn't agree more there, Dan. A lot of, as you may know, the survival stats are not good for new businesses. Most businesses, you may know, don't make it through to their 5th birthday, and I think part of that is exactly what you've been describing there, where people have been specialists in their career and they think therefore they can launch a specialist business in their specialist area. But of course, actually, as a business owner, you need to be a generalist, and you need to know the most important 20% of marketing and sales and leadership and finance and teamwork. So
absolutely.
I think that's a really, really interesting point you make there. Very good. So Dan, last question, if that's okay. If anybody's interested in a follow-up conversation, or do you have any offers you'd like to make to the Business Spotlight viewers, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So reach out to me on LinkedIn or dan@growth-assist.co.uk. Give me a shout. Let's hop on a call. I can do like a quick analysis of where you are today and see whether we're a good fit for you. And then we're offering like a 1-month free trial with the service. So just to give you sort of a flavour to what we offer, and obviously get you meeting the team out in the Philippines and getting, because I appreciate it's a bit of an alien concept to a lot of people. So yeah, I'd sort of suggest getting that 1-month trial just to sort of get a feel for the service.
And what might that trial focus on? Might it be email marketing? Might it be social media? Might it be SEO? What typically would be a sensible thing to focus on during that?
Yeah, so it's really just down to where that business is. So again, if we're sort of looking at what I'm typically finding with a lot of sort of small businesses is they just don't have any sort of growth plan in place today. These businesses, they've just sort of grown through word of mouth. Maybe they're doing a bit of networking, bit of golf, but they're not sort of really sort of proactively going out there to find any business. So if it's that type of company that's looking to work with us, then we can sort of come in and we can help them develop a growth plan as part of that sort of initial trial. And then just do some sort of basic sort of cold outreach. Email marketing is always a good place to get started. Very sort of cost effective, probably the most cost effective way to start marketing your business. Help out with a bit of social, and then we can sort of help out with some sort of strategy and concepts there.
Might follow-up phone calls be part of that package then, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we can do calling. We can offer sort of anything on that sort of end-to-end marketing service. And it's just sort of down to where the business is today. And then at the opposite end of the scale, you may have a marketing sort of manager within the business already. They're looking to do some sort of product launch, and they just need some extra firepower or some specific skill set to come in and maybe sort of assist with something like SEO or something. So yeah, offer a broad range of services.
Very good. Excellent. All right, Dan. Well, we will add the URLs, the addresses to these videos. Thank you very much again for your time and for sharing your journey, and all the very best with Growth Assist.
Brilliant. Thanks, Gary.
All the best. Bye for now.